Have you ever seen a mansion fall, not from a storm, not from fire, but from termites slowly eating it from the inside? That's the story of Ephraim. He looked strong on the outside, respected, feared, carried divine blessings on his back. But behind that shine was decay. And it began with one fatal choice. He forgot the God who made him great. Today, dear truth seekers, you're about to journey into the tragic story of Ephraim, a tribe chosen, exalted and favored, yet destroyed by pride, compromise, and forgetfulness. This story is not just a dusty biblical history lesson. It is a mirror, one that shows us what happens when people with potential turn their backs on purpose. So lean in, let's dive right deep into it. Let's start at the beginning. Ephraim was not just any child. He was the second son of Joseph. Yes, that's Joseph, the dreamer, who went from pit to palace in Egypt. His name, Ephraim, means fruitful, and fruitful he was. When Jacob, the grandfather, was blessing Joseph's sons, something unusual happened. Instead of giving the bigger blessings to Manasseh, who was the firstborn, Jacob crossed his hands and gave the right hand blessings to Ephraim, according to Genesis chapter 48, verse 14. Joseph protested, "Father, no, Manasseh is the older brother." But Jacob, led by divine insight, replied, "I know, my son, but Ephraim shall be greater." That was it. The spotlight of destiny was placed on Ephraim. Fast forward, and Ephraim's tribe became the head of the 10 tribes in the northern kingdom of Israel. Whenever prophets spoke to the north, they didn't say Israel. They often just said, Ephraim. That's how big Ephraim became. But here is the tragedy. The greater their position, the deeper their pride. 1. Pride turned to rebellion. The prophet Hosea says it clearly. When Ephraim spoke, men trembled. And that we can find in Hosea chapter 13 verse 1. Imagine that. When they spoke, kingdoms listened. When they acted, nations reacted. But then came the twist. He exalted himself in Israel. But when he became guilty of Baal worship, he died. What a sharp contrast from reference to ruin. Ephraim, the lion of Israel, opened his gates to idols. They bowed to Baal. They offered sacrifices to man-made gods. And in that moment, they died spiritually. 2. They trusted strangers over God. Have you ever seen someone run from fire, but ran straight into a snake's nest? That's Ephraim. Instead of repenting when things got tough, they ran to Egypt for help, then to Assyria, back and forth. Hosea chapter 7 verse 11 says it so clearly. Ephraim is like a silly dove, without sense, calling to Egypt, flying to Assyria. Like a confused bird in a storm, they flopped from one false hope to another, but never flew back to God. They are the God of heaven, the miracle worker who parted seas and broke walls, but chose political alliances instead. 3. They mixed with the world and lost their flavor. Hosea chapter 7 verse 8 says, Ephraim mixes himself with the nations. Ephraim is a cake not turned. Now imagine baking a cake and forgetting to turn it. One side is burnt, the other side is raw, unusable, unappetizing. That's how God saw Ephraim, half-baked faith. They still went to the temple, still performed rituals, but their hearts were far away. They wanted to enjoy both Yahweh and Baal, holiness and compromise, truth and sin. But God doesn't share his throne, ever. 4. They rejected prophets and laughed at truth. God didn't give up on Ephraim easily. He sent prophet after prophet, message after message. Hosea pleaded, warnings echoed, but Ephraim rolled their eyes and kept walking. They didn't just sin, they celebrated it. They didn't just ignore prophets, they mocked them. Hosea chapter 9 verse 7 says, "The prophet is a fool, the man of the spirit is mad." They called God's messengers crazy, old-fashioned, out of touch. Isn't that what people still do today? 5. The final verdict. Leave him alone. Then comes one of the most terrifying verses in the Bible. Hosea chapter 4 verse 17. Ephraim is joined to idols. Leave him alone. Leave him alone? When God says that, it's not silence, it's judgment. God stops striving. He stops chasing. He withdraws. What a painful reality when God in deep sorrow says, "If he wants idols more than me, let him have them." And that was the beginning of the end. The Assyrian came. The land of Ephraim was ravaged. Cities destroyed. People exiled. The once mighty tribe of Ephraim faded into history like smoke blown by the wind. Ephraim, the favored one, was no more. What lessons can we learn from the story of Ephraim? The fire still speaks. This isn't just Ephraim's story. It is your story. It is ours too. Here are the truths we must hold on to. 1. Don't let success make you forget God. Ephraim was fruitful, powerful, and respected until pride made him rebel. Never let your blessings become the rope that hangs your obedience. 2. You can walk with God and dance with idols. Ephraim tried. They wore holy garments but harbored idols. You can't mix light and darkness. 3. God sends warnings out of love. Every sermon, every whisper in your heart, every divine nudge, it's heaven pleading with you. So listen. 4. Being religious is not the same as being righteous. Ephraim still did rituals, but God saw their hearts, and it was far from him. Don't just go to church, be the church. 5. And finally, God's silence is not peace. It's a warning. When God stops speaking, it is not approval. It could be the final act of judgment. Don't wait until he says, "Leave him alone." Dear truth seekers, Ephraim had every opportunity to walk in greatness, but he let pride, compromise, and disobedience write his ending in ash and sorrow. But your story can be different today. You don't have to fall the way Ephraim did. You don't have to let compromise drain your destiny. You don't have to ignore God's voice any longer. Right now, right here, God is still speaking. If this story spoke to your heart, then do something about it. Subscribe to BVN, Ben's voice narrative, for more soul-stirring Bible stories told with depth, power, and life. Like this video if it blessed you. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. And drop a comment. Tell us what part of Ephraim's story hit you the most. Let's keep uncovering these sacred stories, one truth at a time. Because this isn't just storytelling. It is destiny speaking.